Hello, beautiful internet people and breadcrumbs who follow us along as we proceed with this podcast known as Sandwiched. I am Cheese,
And I'm Meat.
and as you know, we talk about movies. And this one is really interesting. This week, we watched the movie Blade Runner. And because of the specific time it's set, I'm going to give my summary of the film as if I was giving it when it came out. In a futuristic day in Los Angeles, California, in the year 2019, Blade Runner, Detective Deckard. I don't even really know if he's a detective.
He was retired.
Yeah.
So.
Played by Harrison Ford, follows Roy and his band of replicants, also known as cybernetic intelligences, to hunt them down so that they don't incite any more damage to humanity because they have forsaken their ways of servitude in order to find out why they don't live longer.
Because they only lived like 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this movie takes place in 2019.
I know.
It was like 5 years ago. 6 years ago?
6 years ago.
And
yeah.
man alive.
So yeah, this movie came out in 1982. It's probably, well, actually, the oldest movie we've watched, but who knows? Maybe it won't stay as the oldest movie we watched because there's a lot of good 80s movies out there.
It is directed by Ridley Scott. That was a name I recognized. He's done a couple of the Alien movies. He directed Gladiator and Gladiator 2. He directed Prometheus, The Martian, and those are just a couple. They're mostly just sci-fi films, it seems.
All great with the visual effects, like the deep space aspect in Alien and Prometheus, or like the idea of that is really greatly done.
Oh yeah, he knows his stuff.
He also directed Hannibal, which I was super cool to learn. I love that movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
I will admit, Hannibal Lecter, one of the better movie villains.
Well, in the Hannibal version, but there's also the Silence of the Lambs version.
Yeah, but I think Silence of the Lambs is just like one of the better horror movies of history. So.
True.
This is my personal opinion, you know. So you had never seen this movie?
No, it's been one of the movies that has always been on my watch list, and I have that. I'll always tell people, yeah, I'll put it on the list, and the list is like 100 movies long, and that's why I'm so thankful for this podcast and the listeners, because it gives me a reason to to watch certain movies I just haven't had a chance to. But yeah, no, this one's been one that I've been waiting for, but just like the person we were talking to earlier today, I always get it confused with the Blade trilogy, because I'm like, yeah, I've seen the Blade trilogy, but not Blade Runner.
Very different movie.
Very, yeah. Yeah, so this one was pretty interesting, and yeah, I mean, I literally only recognized Harrison Ford.
Really?
Yeah, I tried really hard. Like, I looked at the other actors and other movies to be in. I'm like, I've had to, because obviously they look different today. So I was like, okay, I have to have known these actors from somewhere, But no, only Harrison Ford. Which, one of my favorite, because I really don't like the Indiana Jones movies. I like it for him.
Why? Never mind, but that's a different discussion for a different day.
Jones.
Yeah, we'll do an Indiana Jones movie one of these days, and
maybe
then we
it'll
can have
change my
you
mind.
Explain why you hate him so much.
I like him for him.
Okay.
But I really like Ender's Game, which he's in, because that's a nice little like sci-fi dystopian.
He's also in Star Wars,
yes.
For those people who don't know.
Yes.
Seeing as Star Wars is one of the more prominent sci-fi movies of the past century.
Yes. Indeed. Did you have any other actors you recognized?
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
Rutger Hauer. He's in a little film that I'm familiar with known as Ladyhawke.
Hmm. And which character was this?
This was Roy, the main...
Oh, gotcha. He did look familiar, but I think it's just his villainous look that I've seen
replicant.
Throughout.
I was trying to come up with the word. I kept wanting to say Revenant, but I know that that's the wrong.
Yeah. You said Replicant earlier.
Yeah, I know, but my
Oh.
brain tricked me into thinking Revenant,
Oh.
and I know that that's the wrong pop culture thing,
Oh,
and so I had to think about it for a little.
I
bit.
see what you're doing. His look has been replicated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's what you meant? Okay.
that's what they're cybernetic beings that were made to look like humans.
Yeah. No, I
So
was
they're
meaning
replicating
his
humans.
look. I've seen, like, in Demolition Man. The villain in there has the same look as Roy. It's the bleach blonde hair, no other facial hair.
Yeah, but that's just the color of his hair.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, that's also very sci-fi-y. So, like, the sci-fi, the villains have, like, the whitest hair, almost like, maybe not white, but it's like, I keep wanting to say vanilla, blonde, white, and
Oh, it's like a pure vanilla. I would say it's a
Yeah.
pure blonde.
yeah, pure platinum, like, almost like very Ice Cube, like if you think
Not the rapper.
not the rapper, no, like the transparent Ice Cube. It's just that look, like that's what I'm saying. That look has been replicated through different movies, and that's why I thought you were making a pun, but I guess no puns.
No, I meant literally.
Yeah, my bad.
Apparently, for those of you who are fans of it, he was also in Batman Begins. He was a character named William Earl. I have no idea. I don't know anything about Batman. I just know him from Lady Hawk. He plays a character called NTN Navarre.
Well, any other actors?
No, but I'm going to look at the cast real quick,
Okay.
just because I'm curious about them.
I thought I recognized the actress who plays Rachel, but I didn't. I tried. I went through all of her cinematography, and no, or filmography. Wait,
Filmography.
filmography. Thank you. I didn't, but maybe she just has one of those faces that repeats, or maybe she's just a really beautiful woman, and I wanted to just know her.
I think that the Asian dude in the coat, I feel like I recognized him.
You know who you kind of look like? You know the movie's Machete?
Like with Danny Trejo.
Is that who is Machete?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Spy Kids too.
Yeah. He kind of looked like a very skinny version of him. Just because they had the same mustache, I think. I think that's the only reason why. Association by mustache.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the specific guy I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't know his
Blade
name.
Runner coat guy.
I think I might have wrote down his name somewhere.
Oh, it's giving me the other one.
Oh.
So the character is named Hannibal Chu. And I'm familiar with his actor because he's in another movie that I know from the 80s.
Oh.
So his name is James Hong, and he's also in Big Trouble in Little China, which is one starring Kurt Russell, and he plays a dude named David Lopan. For those of you who know that movie, you'll understand. Apparently he's also in Kung Fu Panda. Oh, he's Mr. Ping.
Oh.
The goose.
No way.
So there you go. Now you know.
I know. So I do know two actors. Not really, but.
Yeah, you wouldn't pick him out in a crowd, that's for sure.
No.
I would know him from his voice, because his voice is very...
I feel like he was quiet in this movie, though, in my opinion. Like.
Oh yeah, he was freezing to death. Dude had this is the funniest thing. He had on like a mega parka,
Yeah.
and I assumed that the cords that were attached to his coat were just like supplying him with heat.
Oh, probably, yeah.
That's what I thought. Because right as soon as they took the coat off of him, he was like, "I'm so cold. I'm freezing."
Oh my gosh. Well, I had some fun facts, but I only have two. And I didn't know if you had any fun facts. That's great.
No, I don't.
That's good. Whew. Okay. So, Robert Mitchum was the original person that the playwright wanted to play for Deckard. But, the playwright wanted Robert Mitchum, and then the director, Scott, Ridley Scott, wanted Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, wow, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but Dustin Hoffman's opinions were very different from Scott's. And then Ford ended up just taking the role after his acting gig in Star Wars. They just plucked him right over and say, haha.
Dude, he was jacked in this.
Yes, he was.
There was a scene where he was shirtless, and I was like, wow, he is muscular. He probably doesn't look like that now. If he took off his shirt, it would probably be major dad bod, but...
Oh, yeah. Isn't he a grandfather now?
Grandfather bod.
Grandfather.
Granddad bod.
Granddad bod. And then, for its time, this movie was actually a flop, because it lost about $3 million during production. But after the re-releases and rewrites, it ended up earning about $45 million.
I mean, I can see that. Because I think it's one of those movies that was definitely ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
For the time that it was coming out. Because not very many movies at the time were mass sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, didn't... Like, that era of sci-fi didn't come out and, like, become popular until the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
With movies like The Fifth Element and various movies like that. And so I feel like it was harder for something like this to get off the ground.
I also think it was hard because two different versions of the movie, depending if it was in America or international, got released.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
So I'm pretty sure I think the international version had voiceovers, but the American version didn't. And the voiceovers, I don't know why I didn't write this fact down, like, what the heck. But the voiceovers was Deckard. You know how, like, and I understand it, because you know how the stereotypical detective, like, black and white detective stories where it's like, it was a Sunday, raining, and I almost missed my dinner.
The dialogue.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was, which I could understand, but it was like him giving the context, and I wonder if they didn't have the beginning clips where you read the facts and the expository information about what this universe is about. I wonder if it was like him speaking it. But Deckard hated it, or not Deckard, what's his name? Harrison Ford hated the voiceovers with a burning passion. So I don't know why that made the divide of the American version doesn't have his voiceovers, but the international does. I don't know. And then, did you also know that Ford and Scott just don't get along?
No.
Well, they do now. They're on better terms now. But during filming, they were like, "Argh!" And obviously you guys can't see, but I'm like punching my knuckles together. Like, they were just...
I think that'd be tough to work with someone who doesn't really work well with you.
And is especially the lead that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're fine now, but they both agreed they never want to work on a movie together again. But they're very nice to each other now, or friends or something rather.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least they let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, they said bygones. No, not funny.
Sheesh.
Tried.
What are some of the things that you appreciated about this film?
Well, I guess starting from the top, I liked the opening scene with Leon taking the test and Leon's just being difficult. I know that's part of being like the replicant, but I just I thought it was really funny because he's like, when he was questioning all the questions, he's like, well, why would I be there? Why would blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was funny.
What's a tortoise?
Yeah, like, do you know what a turtle is? Well, yeah.
Basically that.
It's like really funny because I don't know, it's a really great opening scene frustration thing.
So going off of that scene, I love that he was just like, tell me about your mother, and he's like, let me tell you about my mother, and then he just blasts him. He shoots him once, and then the dude like is in a wheelie chair, and it goes through his gut, and so he like wheels back, and then he shoots him again through the head, and I was like, oh man, that's harsh, dude. I loved that. I thought it was so funny that LA is basically Little Japan.
Yeah.
Because everything in there was some form of Japanese. There was Japanese all over the place. I was like, man, it's like they moved to Asia. No joke.
When the plates moved, LA ended up in Asia or whatever, or
something like that. It must have been something like that because there was so much Japanese all over the place, like the Asian people on the blimps. Yeah. I was like, man, this is crazy. And I love their technology ideas for what they thought would be like masterful technology in 2019. Although I'm sure in 2019, like the one piece of technology that I was like, oh yeah, we probably had that. I just never really looked out for it. Was when he was on the computer and he was pretty much zoom and enhancing the photo.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, yeah, but
Because you can talk to Siri and have Siri do zooming and enhancing.
yeah, but about that though, it's like where did I write that? Did I not write that? There. Yes. Uh, so it was actually one of my hated attributes because if you notice, when they zoomed in and went to different frames, it changed the perspective of the photo. So it was like the photo was a 3D image, and that mattering where you were changed like the look of it. Which
That is really interesting, though. If you
yeah,
think
like
about
our
it.
technology doesn't do that. It is like a cool part of technology, but my brain was like how was he able to do that? I just don't know if like this is the kind of advanced technology that they're trying to like say we'll have, but like I don't know. There was just like one of those things of like that just doesn't because it was a Polaroid, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so the fact that it was a Polaroid
I
that
think
they were analyzing in 3D, it feel like if a picture was taken with like a 3D esque lens to capture a 3D perspective when you're analyzing it, not take a 2D photo and then expand it to 3D. They just it doesn't have that type of depth.
going off of Polaroid, I was appreciative that there wasn't that much product placement in this film.
Oh
The only thing I really noticed was Polaroid and Coca-Cola.
yeah. Yeah.
There were big billboards of Coca-Cola everywhere.
True. I mean, hey, they're probably. I mean, that they got that right about 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Random garbage flavors. No, I'm kidding. Well, some of them are okay, but
Oh, like they're different flavors? I don't like a
yeah.
single one of them besides the normal cherry. Well, I also don't like Coca Cola.
I'm not the biggest Coca-Cola guy either.
It makes my teeth feel weird.
I'd rather just drink Sprite. Still a Coke product, but
Oh, I don't care if it's a Coke product. My favorite Coke product is Dr. Pepper.
is it really a Coke product though?
It's Coke and Pepsi. They share custody.
But they're also like it's also like its own thing.
Yeah, and I think, oh man, it would be so cool if we dove into the I forget what it's called, but it's like there's this triangle, and it's about no, it's a spider map, mind map, and it's about the businesses. And technically, Pepsi owns Coca-Cola, but they're also the competitor. And then like other competitors, technically one of them owns the other, and it's all for a ruse or something like that. And
Okay.
sorry. I also like that this is kind of another futuristic, quote unquote futuristic, because 2019 wasn't that cool, but for the time, a nice little cyberpunk-esque futuristic thing. That just the concept is what I'm trying to say. Of
Yeah.
the movie was awesome.
That's fair. I mean, they did have a lot, like going off of the cyberpunk kind of thing. They did have a lot of replicants because they kind of told the story in the beginning text as well as the just kind of how everybody was talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of replicants.
Yeah.
And they were just robots that looked like humans that kind of learned everything except for the basic human emotion
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And they basically used them as slaves
Yeah.
to labor for them and then die. They give them a limitation of living for 4 days, like you said.
4 years.
4 years, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Can't
said
get anything
days.
done in 4 days.
4 years, like what you were saying. And they did that so that they wouldn't become too self-aware and just go on a killing spree.
It's just so terrible, like if you think about it. Because then, yeah, sure, they kind of did, or two people kind of did, but like,
Well, Roy was definitely like very self-aware.
yeah,
He
and
just wanted to live.
yeah, like I wonder if they didn't limit the 4 years, if he wouldn't be like that, you know? Well, maybe he would. Maybe he would get to a certain time where he's breaking down. He's like, I want to live more. Kind of like in Ghost in a Shell with the guy in the hood. I forget his name already. He wanted to just try to like live in a different way, which he went on to living in like I don't know what they called it, but the cloud, how
Yeah.
we would call it.
Although that didn't happen for Roy. He just kind of died.
No, yeah, he did. He real did.
He didn't get shot though, so
True,
that was
yeah.
lucky for him.
Is a humane death. Going off of the fact of like they don't have emotions and stuff like that, I liked the idea of Rachel being an experiment. Like it sucks and it's not fair, you know. But like science is just interesting in the sense that I forget the doctor's name or whatever, the co-creator or whatever.
Tyrell.
Thank you. Was like implanting memories to try to get a sense of emotion out of them, which like it kind of was working, you know, like it was working. I would say it was working. Not 100%, but like the idea, the first experiment, there was a lot of great success. Yeah, that's what I like.
To go off of that, I thought it was kind of cool that Deckard ended up telling her that her past was just an illusion.
Yeah, like it's only fair to tell her the truth. It just like hurt
Yeah.
her in a odd sense. Like obviously she doesn't have emotions, but like she does. I don't know.
Well, I mean, she would to the extent of, because her memories, quote unquote, the ones that were implanted into her,
Yeah.
she assumes they're real.
Right.
So finding out that your world isn't what you thought it was would be life shattering.
It would, yeah. To any like being, that just means she like is sentient. I don't know if that means that or not.
Well, I mean, they're all sentient. They are all alive.
So. Yeah, but I feel like sentient has emotional intelligence too.
Well, don't they? Like there was only I forgot the long list of things that they said that they were able to reproduce as
really?
like, in terms of like human, like they look like humans, they act like humans, you know, that type of stuff. But there's like maybe like a handful of small things that they can't comprehend.
Right. Because like part of the test was to see emotional responses and the dilation in the pupils.
Yeah.
But I want to feel like Roy had his own emotional intelligence forming, because obviously he was forming envy and anger, and that's an emotion.
Yeah.
So,
and the pain from loss as well.
Yeah. So like he didn't need memories; he made his own memory. Like his 3 years and 11 months and 30 days, I don't know, of memories like really helped him build that emotional intelligence. And yeah, he was hurt, he was angry, he was envious. So like I guess you're right. I guess in general they really could have just been their own race. The part where Rachel shoots Leon, I don't know why this is my favorite part because I thought it was funny, but like they go to Deckard's apartment for a drink, and when Deckard takes a sip of his shot, like blood comes out in his shot because his mouth is bleeding. I thought that was funny. Like I like that detail.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah, I like that detail because obviously it's such small and someone might miss it, but it's the intent that they put to do that.
Yeah.
So I like that part.
That whole scene with him talking to the snake lady and then chasing her, that was like, I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Because I honestly did not expect nudity in this movie.
I think I would have expected it. Like maybe not at first, because that was the.
Well, the thing is that this was my second time watching it,
Uh-huh.
and I hadn't seen it in forever, and I didn't remember that nudity was a part of it.
I think that was the only nudity part, though, right?
Yeah.
They get one slip.
It wasn't a slip. It was a full-on show.
It was a drop.
Sheesh. I don't even know if it was a drop. It was just a full-on show.
Yeah. And I don't know if they like.
Because she just got out of the shower.
Yeah, and I don't know if they got away with it. Like, I don't know. Obviously, you could do anything you want in the 80s. But, like, to try to win over a certain audience is like, well, she was a worker, you know, like a sex worker, so it's okay. Because, you know, you don't, just like how they say you can't shame, like, oh, you should never, but, like, you shouldn't shame a mother breastfeeding in public. Because, like, that's, like, her duty or her job or whatever. I wonder if like that's how they got away with it, because they obviously didn't show anything of Rachel, you know, and maybe that was an actor choice too, of like, or not actor choice, of like, I'm not comfortable showing that, so then they didn't. Yeah, that in that scene, it took me a while to realize that was one of the 4. Like I thought for some odd reason that this lady that they're looking for was just someone from Deckard's past. Because he would be looking at that photo at the same time and looking at Rachel's like fake photo. Well, I mean it's a real photo, but it's not truly her or whatever. So I thought like this was someone from his past that he was trying to find. So I got really confused when he chased her down and killed her. I was like, what? Like what is going on?
See, but I thought that Roy or Vinny was, or Leon. I don't know why I said Vinny. Roy or Leon was the other person in the photo.
I couldn't tell. I thought it was
I thought that it was Roy.
I really don't
couldn't
know.
really tell though. I was watching it on my phone.
Oh, that's fair. I thought it was the boss of the the place where the snake lady.
Guy. Oh no, the other guy.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah,
who owned the showgirl thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was him. I wasn't following at that point when I'm like, who the heck is the person in the photo? Like I really don't know. And at that point, I literally thought this was someone he was trying to find still. So I didn't even think, oh, it's Roy, blah, blah. Oh, what's another favorite part you liked?
There's a part where he's sitting in his car kind of mulling over the details of the case while he's looking for where Roy and Priest, the girl that was with Roy, could potentially be.
Mm-hmm.
And these little... It's kind of offensive to call them midgets, but that's basically what they were.
The toys?
No, they were just midgets.
Well, yeah, those were the actors, but, like, they...
No, I mean the midgets who, like, robbed the stuff off of his car.
Oh.
Do you not remember that?
No.
He's just sitting in his car mulling over the case because they found out that Roy had killed pretty much everybody who was integral into creating the replicants.
Right,
trying to find out how to live longer. And so he was going over the paperwork, and then you just hear a clang, clang, and then these midgets are running off with his hubcaps. Mm-hmm. And he drives away from them. It's so funny to me.
It took me a while to understand, because when Ping guy, the guy who plays Ping in Kung Fu Panda, I don't remember the actor name, the cop that...
Oh, James Hong?
Yes.
Mr. Chu.
Mr. Chu, Hannibal Chu, that's right. When he's like, there's 4 people, and you got 1, and then I was really confused because they said so many numbers, and I got confused. Because, like, apparently there was originally 4, and of course, Deckard killed the snake lady, and then I forgot Rachel killed Leon, so then it was only Roy and Priest. But my brain was like, I never knew who the 4th person was until 10 minutes ago when we were talking about Leon. I was like, right, Leon. But I got confused during that section because they kept like saying, no, only 1. He's like, no, what happened to the other 3? And I was like, what? Like, stop with this math, it's hurting my head. I needed like a billboard like detectives have to find out like who's the...
It all connects.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, who's the main person that we're going after? I also liked that you can tell, I think this was a purposeful choice, but because I felt like it was only on the replicants, but I felt like you could tell if they were replicants because of the reflection in the eyes, as if there were lenses. I'm pretty sure that was only on the replicants. So like they would have a dark...
See, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, because you watch it on your phone. But
I wasn't gonna say that.
You already said that earlier.
Well, my phone is just traditionally darker than I would be able to get it on a screen. So.
No, I think this movie, that's one of the things I say
really
that I didn't like, was that it was so dark in this movie. And
like not evil, just like it was
like the lighting
black,
was crap. And if that was the intention, I hated it, man.
I think it was the intention, just because it was kind of like a somber kind of film.
Yeah, if you think of like the...
Because I mean, he's literally just hunting other things that look like people.
Yeah, well, with like the detective... like the black and white... No, with like the black and white detective... Like when we're talking about the voiceovers...
Oh, yeah,
I guess those are normally dark and it's always like shadows because it's black and white. So it's like you either in the light or you're in the shadows. But I hated it. Okay.
I think it was needed though.
I don't know.
For some of the scenes, you could say that it made sense. Like when the characters are trying to hide or something like that.
I didn't like it. I was just saying, man, I hated it. I wanted to see and appreciate the world that they were creating, especially if it took a lot of money. But yeah, I liked it with the reflection. Same reason why I really like the glasses in the Matrix. It's just like that intent of reflection. And then there was another movie that you could tell by looking at their eyes or something. But and the last thing I just liked Sebastian's Tinker Toys when Deckard showed up. I thought that was just really funny to see all of them. And then I never figured out if Sebastian was just like a creepy guy who took people and made them into toys, or if they were really just toys he made. Like I couldn't tell.
He just made them.
Okay, because like obviously it's actors who are playing these Tinker Toys, but the actors look too much like, or like yeah, the toys look too much like people. I literally thought he was either taking broken down replicants and making them into toys, or he was taking like dead people or killing people or kidnapping people and putting toy parts in them, because he has that like very Sebastian's like a sweetheart. He looks like a sweetheart, but he has that very like it could all be a ruse and he's this twisted guy. But it was still my favorite part to see like all of his Tinker Toys and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those were fun.
Oh, and I guess that was another actor that I knew. You couldn't tell from the movie, but what's his name? He's in Game of Thrones. Peter Dinklage.
Oh yeah.
He played the soldier guy that was next to the bear. That toy.
He must have been like pretty young.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would never notice it off the bat, so that's why I didn't include him. But I just thought about it. I was like, what the?
I mean, he's probably in tons of makeup too.
Oh yeah, he had like all white makeup, and then I think he had like blue circles, and then like this weird nose, and then he had a hat on, and I was just like, it was kind of scary. That's why, because he looked so like a human, and I was like, oh my gosh, did Sebastian kill these people? I don't know. What's your other favorite parts?
I thought it was funny that when Priest was beating up Deckard, I thought it was funny that her hair just kind of like goes.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird because like I was like, man, she looks fine with her hair like more down.
Yeah.
And then it gets all spazzy, like she's getting electrocuted, and I was like, what is going on?
She's like malfunctioning.
She's like,
yeah, she's, like evil. It like reminds me in horror movies when you see, or not horror movies, but like horror games, when you see something, oh maybe in some movies too, you see something coming at you that's supposed to be really scary, and you're like, oh, that's not that bad, and then once it gets close enough to you, it unlocks like monster mode or something and like destroys you. That's what it reminded me of. Or it kind of like showed how like why the replicants are supposed to be hunted down and killed. It's because of like
they are dangerous.
Yeah, this weird tweaky mode.
Yeah.
Like obviously you can't like unfold like an armory of guns and knives out of the body, so you just have to static the hair and go crazy.
That's true. Especially in the 80s.
Yeah, you know, they didn't really have much. They had to work with it. What was another favorite part?
I think that the final thing I would consider a favorite part, just because I want to talk about a different part later in this, is I loved that Roy was kind of howling as he was chasing around Deckard at the end of the film. He was just going, oh!
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. I just like the character. He has a great fashion sense. I was like, man, he looked good.
Good.
And then on top of that, he's just all around kind of cool.
Yeah, so is Roy one of your favorite characters?
Oh, yeah, he is.
Me too.
I thought it was kind of messed up, though, when he just, like, when Tyrell was like, I can't help you. And then he just, like, grabbed him and just went
I know.
to his face.
I was like,
he squeezed his hands.
I literally thought he was just gonna, like, have you seen those videos of women smashing a watermelon with their thighs?
Yeah.
I thought he was doing that with his hands, and then he, like, punctured the eyes.
Yeah, he just, like, closed his fists as he was holding this dude's
I was
head.
just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That is terrible. But, yeah, Roy's my favorite character, too. And so is Priest, except for... Well, okay, I really did like her crazy freak. I thought it was hilarious. But, like, I think they're, like, not saying they're good, as in they're not bad people, but I think they're, to be villains, like, they're really great villains. Like you want to join their villainous team kind of thing. Like, I love them. And
then on top of that, Roy has my favorite quote from the movie.
Oh, what is it?
near the end when he was talking to Deckard, I think this was before they started the cat and mouse chase kind of scene, or it was like right after. He said, "Living in fear is what it is to be a slave." And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like that must have been before, because at the end he was talking about how the moments that we lose, because he talks about how he's about to die, and he goes, all those things that I experienced were just moments that, like tears, are lost in the rain. Because he's the only one who's, like, his point was, I'm the only one who's ever going to experience these things, and because I'm dying, there's no one else who's going to know.
Yeah. Dang.
And I was like, wow, that's powerful.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Our boy Roy, R.I.P.
He's so misunderstood. He just wanted to crush his dad's head.
You know, sons, when they reach that age, it's a dad.
I touch your skull.
Oh my gosh. My other favorite character was Rachel, for the most part. Like, I really liked her, I think, the first 3/4. Because I feel like everything happened real fast in the end of the movie. But the first 3/4 of the movie, I really liked her character. I like the whole, like, idea that she doesn't know that, you know, she's a replicant. She's like, no, I'm human. And like I said, the actress, that I feel like the 80s were her prime.
Yeah. She did really well.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you on that one. I wrote her down as one of my favorite characters as well.
Oh, wow. Do you have any other favorite characters?
I'm on the fence about my last one.
Oh, okay.
Because I wrote down Deckard, and now I'm kind of on the fence about it. But I'll explain that later. Because that's my thing that I would change.
Right, yeah, that's in... Yeah, well, if that's your last favorite one, we can move into, like, the disagreeable choices made. And going off of you being questioning about Deckard is, if we had a most hated character section, I would actually have to say Deckard is my most hated character. And mainly because I hated the choice of when, or whatever choice, the scene, because Deckard sexually assaulted Rachel. Like no doubt, you know? With that scene where they, like, have sex and whatnot, like, there was no way that, like, Rachel consented to that. Like, she didn't, like, they kissed and then she's like, no, I don't want this, then left, and then, like, he grabbed her, you know, like, held her back and said, no, we're gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. And I hated that so much, because not only is she a replicant and doesn't understand the complexity of, like, lust and, you know, the severity of consent, you know, because, like, obviously in this time period, and obviously for a replicant who doesn't have a whole lot of emotional capacity, even with her emotional intelligence she just thought, like, poor girl, like, obviously it's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, as a replicant, they're technically programmed to take orders, you know, like, do what they're told in a way, but not, like, you know, like, they obviously have the capacity of free will in a sense, you know, because they're not, like, programmed to be controlled, but they still have that sense to, like, oh, they know what's better, I'm gonna follow that. So that's why I didn't like Deckard, and I thought he was an okay character until that point, and I just was turned away from his character from there. 100%.
Yeah, some of the choices made were just kind of confusing. Some of the choices he made were kind of confusing. I didn't understand why he just destroyed the snake lady. Like, I didn't understand why she had to die.
Well, she was one of the 4.
Well, I know she was one of the 4, and I know that they killed whatever guy, but in the moment, I didn't really understand why didn't he, like, keep her alive? Because I figured that if you keep one alive, they can lead you to the others.
I guess that's fair.
And so in my brain, I was like, well, there goes his chance of finding the rest. And then Leon was standing right there, and I was like, okay,
which was so crazy. Well, here's how I understood it. Once I understood that the snake lady was one of the 4, because again, I literally thought this was, like, his mother or something, you know, like he was looking for. Because that's what I interpreted. because it just seems so right. You know, it was Rachel with her quote unquote mother, and then he looks at a picture that he's analyzed, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's his long lost mother. Maybe he has some mother issues. And again, this is because I've never seen this movie before, but from what I remember from like the expository information, the exposition, is like he was at a retirement, and like Blade Runners were just sent to hunt down replicants and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which also, I didn't write it down on my fun facts, but I do remember they took Blade Runner from a different book, from a different story that does not have anything to do with this universe. They just like the name, so they have the rights to this, like they already bought the rights to make the movie, and then they bought the rights to that other book, like they owned that book for whatever reason, like just owned it, like the copyright rights, just to take the name so that they can use it. I was like, what? Because I thought Blade Runner was such an interesting idea to be what these detective assassins are, or hitmen, or private detective, I don't know. Like, I thought it was interesting because, one, they're not using blades, they're using guns. But the runner parts, I guess, is okay. But it's a cool sounding name, but I'm like, come on, like, this is so stupid. Like, I hated that part. But, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, like, in his past, they were like, yeah, I went into retirement, I used to do this for a living, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
I think that's why. And he wanted to get it done and over with, maybe, because he didn't want to do it, but he was forced to. Which is weird.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I literally put down, I never edited this note, but I'm like, why did he kill the girl with the snake tattoo? Question mark. Where did that photo come from? Question mark. I didn't understand it
You
at the
figured
time.
that out later.
Yeah, I figured it out later.
You know, after
Too
Leon
late.
almost killed him.
No, I didn't figure it out until, I don't even know when I figured it out. I figured it out way too late.
The other hated choice I made was, that I wrote was, JF Sebastian just letting that random lady into his house. Like it's revealed later that he understood that she was a replicant.
Oh, did he?
Well, because in the movie, I only really remember this because I watched it this morning. He is talking to Roy and Priest because he invited Priest over, and then Priest invited Roy.
Right.
And he's talking to them, and Roy's like, why do you keep looking at us? And then he goes, well, I think you're perfect.
All right, because he designed their eyes.
No, he did the body.
Oh. So he designed the eyes.
No, Chew was the eye guy.
Or Tyra.
No, Chew.
Chew?
The Asian guy.
Wasn't that
he had tons of eyes in jars.
I thought the
father.
father.
The Coke guy.
The Coke guy? What was the guy that was always in the police car with him?
That was like the detective guy.
I thought that's who you meant Hannibal Lecter Chew was.
No.
That's who I've been talking about when you
Chew
said
is
that.
the Coke guy.
The dad. Right?
I don't think he's the dad.
Well, yeah, Roy calls him dad.
He calls Tyrell dad.
Oh my god. So who's Hannibal Lecter Chew? Because literally...
Hannibal Lecter Chew is the dude who was basically in the freezer that had the coat on that had all the little plugs plugged into it.
Oh. He did the eyes.
Yeah, he did the eyes.
That's right.
Yeah, he had all the eyes in the jars, and he was like,
Sebastian
you like my
did.
eyes?
That's right. Okay. I'm back on track.
I'm pretty sure Sebastian did the body because he was close to talking to Tyrell, so I'm sure that they used his mechanical knowledge to be able to engineer it.
It all comes back. I guess I think I
was like, that's kind of weird.
I think I might have missed that, even though I knew that.
Yeah, I think the three of them were like the major contributors to the replicants. I
also think Sebastian, how his demeanor is, I think he would just let anyone in, you know, like lives in that big old place all alone, makes toys. This is why his creep factor. This is why I thought he was going to kill Priest and like make a toy out of her or something, you know?
Oh, dude, I thought he was dead.
Sebastian?
Yeah, I thought he was going to die a lot sooner than he did.
Also too.
Like when he's sitting in the chair and Roy is walking around him, I was like, dude's about to get his neck snapped or something. Roy doesn't care. He's just gonna kill him.
When did Sebastian die?
He died right after Tyrell died.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It isn't seen,
Oh, that makes
but
sense.
they talk about it because the police chief calls Deckard and is like, "Hey, just so you know, Tyrell and Sebastian are both dead,
Oh, okay.
and they were found pretty close to each other."
That's right. That's right. Okay, this is a part that I was like, come on. The idea of Deckard coming out of retirement is cool, but then and it might be Harrison Ford's fault, but he doesn't look like he can hold or shoot a gun properly when he's shooting. Like it looks like he's having an aneurysm as he's shooting. And I'm like, how are you coming out of retirement, which you should have all these skills, but look like you can't shoot a gun? And again, like I said, it might have been Ford's fault, or like
It is a weird looking gun.
no, he looked
Yeah.
weird when he was shooting. Like, I was like, are you having a heart attack, old man? I don't know what's happening.
I mean, he wouldn't be that old if he was coming right out of Star Wars.
Yeah, I know, and he didn't even look old. Like obviously, it's pretty young for Ford, but like, what do they have some enhancements that make them not look so ancient? Like, you can't be coming out of retirement and still have like no gray hairs.
Unless, of course, he retired for
Like a Purple Heart, or like
something bad. happened.
ordinary
Like
discharge.
Yeah, like a partner died or something like that, and so he's
Right.
still kind of like reliving that trauma every single time he points his gun. I don't know.
That's why it looked funny.
Yeah.
No, but it just made me mad because I'm like, invest in teaching someone how to. Again, I guess the 80s.
Well, I mean, technically, I don't think they're paid by the government, so they can't offer training.
I don't think you have to be paid by the government. Like you can think of it as
It's like
choreography.
a vigilante.
Yeah, but like.
It's like its own private organization, I guess, and then they were disbanded. I don't know.
Like
I need to read a comic or something to figure it out.
You can go to a shooting range and get like lessons. I don't know if you could in the 80s, but I know like to this day you can.
I mean, it was in 2019.
No, I'm talking about the actor getting lessons on how to hold
Oh.
it. In the universe, this is advanced technology. You should know how to shoot a gun, man. Like, come on. I hated it.
The only thing that I would change, though, is him being so forceful with Rachel. Just because that really bothered me, because I was like, okay, she's leaving, that's cool. And then he's just like...
Yeah, just grabs her.
And then slams her against the wall, and I'm like, wow, dude, chill.
Yeah, and...
First off, if she likes you, she'll always come back.
Right, and it was very, like,
I honestly thought it was like a drunk rage kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
Like he was shoving her around because he was all mad or whatever. He was like, no, don't leave because I'm drunk and I want to...
Bone. But also he made a comment the second time he saw... Or, like, when he was at the bar, when he was going to go get the snake lady, which is also a weird concept because he was there, or the bar, or the show, or whatnot, to get the snake lady. But then he calls Rachel and invites her to be there, and then talks about how, like, no one walks out of my apartment, or, like, no one's walked out of my...
dude. Wants to meet him kind of guy.
Yeah, like, no one stands me up or walks out of my apartment and I was being charming or something like that. Like, I was being charming and you still walked away, even though it was because she was distraught or whatnot. I know he was making a joke. But, like, after seeing that scene and then going back to that comment, I'm like, were you literally just trying to get a one-night stand right then and there instead of going to go do, like, what you came there to do? Like, it was...
See, I think... Just thinking back on the entire movie,
Mm-hmm.
I think he genuinely liked her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think he went about it in the wrong way.
Well,
like, initially.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, because she is a replicant, she's way stronger than him. So, like, maybe he needed to be forceful. I don't know. I'm not, like, trying to defend him or anything.
Oh, I know. I just don't think she would know her strength if she's, like, not understanding she's a replicant. Maybe she's pretty dainty, you know? Like meaning, like, she's like, oh, I don't put that strength. Yeah. But, I do feel like he did love her, yes, because in a different rewrite, with a different ending, where, apparently Rachel has unlimited life. She doesn't have 4 years. She wasn't programmed with a death date or whatever. Because there's supposed to be a scene after elevator, and then they just go off on a ship or a car together or whatnot. And it's like somehow he learns that she doesn't have a death date or something like that. Like that was an alternate scene that, or a rewrite or whatnot, that went out there. You know, like they said that this movie had multiple rewrites. Obviously, there was the American version and then the international version with the voiceovers, and then different versions with the ending scene, but it got taken out because people thought it was too sappy. I wonder why. Because it made Deckard not seem so tough, or I don't know. Like, I feel like if you kept that in there, it would make it seem like, yeah, Deckard loved Rachel. But from what I got now, the ending scene is the only thing. When he took Rachel was the only thing. And when he thought Rachel was dead, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was the only part. But, like, I don't know, I guess in the 80s, the relationship between a man and a woman were a lot different in terms of like ownership and stuff like that. But that was one thing I just didn't like. Also, was the multiple rewrites. Like, it's so confusing to watch because if you've seen one version but not the others, and then you talk to someone about it or you watch it again, and it's different, it gives you like weird Mandela effects. That happened to me actually with the Barbie movie. They rewrote Barbie Swan Lake, and I was going crazy for a while, for like 10 years of my life, until like I realized they did re-release it with a different ending, and I was like, I knew I wasn't crazy. But yeah, I just hated the rewrites. Like, it just makes it messy, you know, like those things are supposed to be done before you do your final post. I mean, sure, you can have two versions, but there was, settle on one, man. But I also hated that it just kind of felt like the movie just evaporated in thin, smoky air, because it was smoky in the universe, you know, like that air pollution. Because, like, there's things that weren't really touched upon. There was, like, elements that could have been a really big contributor to the story, but were forgotten. And then there was also, I don't know, just, like, weird things overdone. Like, they talk about how when they talk to Sebastian, they're like, "Oh, you're still on Earth, eh? You didn't evacuate or whatnot." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm not medically fit." Like that's the only time they talk about that, and that's such a great key point. Like, oh, or like for the universe, you know, like yeah, all the healthy I said Earthlings, humans, got to leave Earth to go to, because you know, for some odd reason, either the planet is dying or the replicants are taking over. Like for some odd reason, people had to leave Earth to go somewhere else. Why? I would love to know that reason. Like that would be cool. You know, is because yeah, this LA in 2019 looks like crap. Is it because you know futuristic global warming, or is it because like it's blowing up or replicants took over, or what? Like, is the oxygen depleting, or like what is going on? And then the fact that you're not medically fit, I forget what he said was the reason. Like what was, I think he said what was wrong with him, whether it was liver or something. It was something small and minute that's like, oh, that shouldn't be a reason, but it is. Like that's such a interesting, because then that makes me think all the other humans that are still on Earth have something medically wrong with them. You know, that's a concept of like, oh my gosh, all these people, the only reason why they're, you know, obviously they're more poor, that you don't really see like rich people around at all in this movie, like rich people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the richest people are gangsters. So
yeah, like honestly, so it's all like rummy communities down here because something's medically wrong with them, or they're not physically capable to go, or psychologically, I don't know if they trust that, or like
which is interesting because you would think that Tyrell would be able to go because he's like a mega super genius who created the
but he's
replicants.
sick, remember, because he has those machines in his bed.
Oh yeah,
so he's not fit to go up. See, that is such a cool concept, and they never explored it. They literally had that one line where Sebastian's like, oh yeah, I wasn't medically fit to go, like just between, I think it was Priest and him, but I was like, this could have been such a cool concept for the whole movie, and it wasn't even, I swear to you, it wasn't even talked about in the first like opening scene where it gives you the backstory. And I feel like the backstory, I mean, some of that I feel like would have been a cooler way to. I do like it when they have those screens of the words, but I feel like there could have been a way better way to convey this information, whether it was Ford Hayden doing his voiceovers or if there was just a different way to show it. I mean, it probably would have been more money, but maybe also just that's not the style that the '80s movies did. Because I feel like today they would have done like you would have seen, um, like you would have seen scenes of like, oh, this is what happened 5 years ago, and this is what happened 1 year ago. Like, things play out in the background while like something happens. That probably wasn't in the budget or in the works for '80s movies, but it would be cool if that would be what happened. Yeah, just ranted for a bit. Sorry. Uh, I also okay. I didn't write his name, but I said the detective guy that always had him in the car with him.
The origami guy.
Did you do origami? Oh yeah. Well, okay. I talked about that later, but because I swear I thought Deckard was doing origami too.
No.
I
It
thought.
was just the one guy.
Oh my gosh.
He would just make little origami things and leave them places, which is why it was kind of cryptic that he said, "If you really like her, you should watch out for her," or whatever. To him before he went home, and then he found the little origami unicorn on the.
In the very end, yeah. Okay, because I thought because there was a little origami person in Deckard's home, and I thought Deckard made those or when he was looking for the snake girl, there was a little origami guy. That's what it was. I thought that was what Deckard left, or not looking for the snake girl. There was wood like collapsed or something.
Yeah,
he was looking at.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, thank you. And I thought that was like Deckard's calling card. I literally write that. I was like, what's with the unicorn at the end? Is it a Blade Runner's calling card? Because Deckard left one in a place, but the other guy wasn't a Blade Runner. Was he? Question mark. So many questions not answered. But that makes sense. Because I literally, one thing I said about that guy is like, how did he know about Rachel? Or how did he even know about Deckard's attraction to Rachel? But it makes sense because the origami was like, I was watching, I was here, I was blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he knew.
Okay, that makes more sense. But it still irritated me. I was like, what is this? What is this? I couldn't understand that. But I also feel like if he has the capacity to do that, why is he not killing the replicants? I don't know. Like, maybe he's just not qualified, but
I mean, he might not be. Maybe he's just living it up, enjoying the life of being a detective.
Maybe.
He gets to run errands for his boss all the time.
I guess that's fair. It was just weird. Yeah, those are the things I just didn't like. And if I could change anything, like I said, it would be the lighting. I know it was purposeful, but I hated it. Like the part where they see Rachel, I can kind of understand that, but I wish there was just a little bit. You could have kept it dark, but just a little bit more lighting, just a little bit. And I think I didn't write any notes on where, but I don't think the audio was balanced very well in the movie. I don't know what it was that made me think that. But
it's probably because the music was always blasting, and then it was almost like the people were whispering.
Maybe that might have been it. Because, yeah, I would change that. 100%. 100%.
Okay. You ready for the final tally then?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I love the concept of this movie. I really do. I love it. I just wish there was more of it. Like I said earlier, it just kind of disappeared, into thin air at the end and kind of throughout. I mean, like, I felt that I was still in that exposition phase 45 minutes into the movie. Like, I was still learning new things. Or just it wasn't clear until then, And I get that this movie's already 2 hours long, but there's nothing wrong with a longer movie if it's been done right. I mean, Matrix 2 and 3 is technically one movie, but they split it into two, or like,
Harry Potter 7.
Yeah, Harry Potter 7, or like, how long are the Star Wars movies?
A couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours, They could have been a 3-hour movie. Cloud Atlas is a 3-hour movie. Like, I feel like there just could have been more, or it could have been series or something like that, like a movie series. So, I have to give it a medium. I almost went small, though. or I don't know, I might. No, I just really like the concept, and there's potential, and I just have to say it's okay because it was done in the '80s. But there's so many other movies that have done so well that I put that thought. I just, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in their way, but it's not their fault. They had bad parents or something, so I'm gonna give them a medium popcorn. I would get a medium. What about you?
I'd probably just get a. I think I was going to go with a lower end one on this one, just because I didn't really 100% like appreciate this movie, and as we were talking, I started to like it a little bit more because I was thinking about some of the stuff, and I was like, well, maybe the characters acted certain ways because of certain situations that they had to deal with. Like Deckard, maybe he's not like supposed to be the bad guy in
Right.
and like the way that we may have seen him as. Like maybe there's just some things like you said that aren't explained that make sense if you understand his character more.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking also about how sci-fi this was and how much it really reminded me of The Fifth Element,
Yeah.
which is a
Also
phenomenal
good
movie.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
if this was like the setup for that, I'd probably have to go with a large. I don't know if I'd watch it again though. Like that's the thing. Like I'd go with the large popcorn just to eat the popcorn throughout this movie. But then the thing is the reason why I picked large and not bottomless is because I don't think this is one I'd return to in unless I was just like watching it with somebody who had never seen it before and they're like, we really want to watch Blade Runner with you. Then I'd be like, sure. But I can't see myself watching it again alone.
That's fair. I don't think I will ever watch it again unless if again someone like you said like if someone wanted to watch it because I don't over time I'll forget the things that irritated me, the small things in movie production choice or storyline choice, and I'll remember the parts I really liked about it, which the whole like again the whole concept I love. It could have went somewhere amazing and it had still has good potential in it. There's just like a lot of sinking holes in it. Um, but yeah, it could have been like a phenomenal movie, and I just want to remember the love that I have for it instead of the hate. I want to I want to leave on good terms with this movie.
It did do one of my favorite tropes though.
Yeah, which
Just
was?
before we end, one of my favorite tropes is when the characters just kind of leave and in some sort of dramatic way that just ends the movie. Like
Right,
for
yeah.
Neo, it was flying away.
Yeah.
For John Kramer at the end of Saw, it was him saying game over and shutting the door. At this, it was them closing the elevator and leaving. I was like, I really like that trope where it's just like, it's like one of the in my personal opinion, is one of the most amazing ways to end a movie is just by the characters doing something and leaving the rest of the story up for interpretation.
That's true. That is a good thing to think about. Because I guess in the rewrite they do the same thing. They just from the elevator they go into a car and then go off and you don't know what they're doing. But I just yeah yeah. I do like the movie. I just maybe if this movie wasn't made in the '80s and it was made in the early 2000s, it would be a lot different. You know.
Oh, it absolutely would be.
Uh, yeah. Well.
Not a terrible movie though.
No, it's not. It really isn't. It just had a bad past. I don't know, man. Well, geez. I guess that seems to be all the time we have today. Tune in next week, Breadcrumbs, for our final edition into this AI theme of this month. And I have chosen I Am Mother because I kept talking about it last episode and now I really want to watch it.
Okay, sounds fun.
Yeah. Alright, guys. As always, don't get lost in the breadcrumb trail.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.